Hi, I'm Kate Wolf-Quintero, and I'm here to help you learn how to avoid plagiarism by taking the right actions with your sources. You need to write a literature review on a public health topic. You've collected a whole lot of sources on your topic. Now what? What do you do with all those sources? Do you copy their arguments and data into your paper? No, that's plagiarism. Students, even at the graduate level, face a writing problem with plagiarism. In undergrad, they taught you to avoid plagiarism by quoting or paraphrasing your sources. However, in the real professional world, plagiarism goes a lot deeper than that. So our first goal is to talk about the writing problem by answering the question, what is plagiarism? By the end of this video, you will be able to define plagiarism and understand actions that count as plagiarism. In another video, we will discuss our second goal, which is to talk about the writing processes that can help you avoid plagiarism. Our topic, what is plagiarism, has three parts. First, why is plagiarism so easy to do? Second, what exactly is plagiarism? And finally, what is not plagiarism? Here's why plagiarism is so easy to do. When writing a literature review or the introduction to a research paper, you are writing about other people's ideas and their research results without doing that research yourself. If you don't think through all of the material for yourself, it is easy to plagiarize any of these: the topics of your paper, the organization of your paper, the ideas in your paper, and the words in your paper. If you are doing a literature review on a particular topic for the first time, you may not know much about the topic, so none of the ideas are yours. So what exactly is plagiarism? The common answer is not citing your sources. In fact, everyone knows one particular thing about plagiarism already: not citing your sources. Not citing your sources is about three things: taking ideas, taking words, and paraphrasing without citing a source. Some students think that if they change the words by paraphrasing, they don't have to cite the source. Wrong. If you take any ideas, any words, written differently or not, you have to cite your source. But there's more to plagiarism than this. Fundamentally, plagiarism is taking other people's ideas, period, even if you cite them. When you are a professional, you don't copy other people's work. This is an ethical issue. So even if you do cite your sources, these things are also plagiarism. Copying the organization or themes of a published paper, quoting ideas from others, that is just lazy. Where's your thinking? Paraphrasing ideas and pretending they are your own, and using other people's ideas to make your arguments, even if you cite them. If you do these things, you didn't write a paper, others wrote it for you, and you just copied their ideas. Let's look at some examples of each of these. In this example, if you are the writer, you took the organizational topics from a published paper. In the Hodder paper, there were 4 topics covered on HIV and U.S. women. In your paper, the first 3 topics are exactly the same. This is plagiarism because you didn't come up with this way of looking at the topic. Someone else already did. You stole their ideas in the form of organization. In fact, if this paper is already published, why do we even need your paper? We don't, unless you bring some new thinking to the table. Let's say you find a nice idea in the Hodder et al. Article. What can you do with it? One possibility is that you could quote this statement and cite Hodder et al. But if you do, it's because you are too lazy to explain what the statement means. In fact, you don't need exact words in order to explain this concept. You should never quote anything except very specific definitions or concepts. If you don't believe me, look through published research articles in public health and show me where there are any quotations. They are very hard to find. So let's say you want to paraphrase a statement and cite Hodder. This is also plagiarism, and here's why. Writing the idea and citing someone looks like you had the idea, and Hodder et al. Supports your idea. But it wasn't your idea. All you did was change the words. This is a very specific idea, not a generalization, and this idea belongs to Hodder et al., not you. So let's say you paraphrase a statement and cite the same original source. This is even worse. You took both Hodder's idea and Hodder's source. You didn't give Hodder any credit for their idea, and you had no new ideas of your own. Okay, let's say you do come up with your own, more general idea, like when people have sex with multiple partners, they put all of their partners at greater risk for HIV. Okay, that's good. You are going beyond the original source. It's not Hodder's idea because they didn't make this more generalized claim. However, should you write this idea without citations? No. You didn't think of this by yourself in a vacuum. You have to credit everyone who contributed to your thinking. We also need to consider what is not plagiarism. How do you give credit to sources for all the ideas in your paper? Here is the first thing that plagiarism is not. When you give others direct credit for their ideas, and when you come up with your own ideas and give credit to those who contributed to your thinking. Let's look at some examples. Here is the original statement by Hodder et al. Notice that they make a generalization and give credit to Adimora et al. As a support for idea. They are doing the same thing that you need to do. As I showed earlier, you can come up with your own generalization after reading multiple studies, but you must cite your contributors. You don't have to if you're an expert in the field doing research on this, and you can confidently say from your own work or because it is common knowledge among researchers. If you don't have your own idea developed, which is the best, you could also directly credit someone else for their idea. You can say Hodder et al. Point out that, based on research by... In this version, Hodder is getting credit for the idea, not you, and you could point out that it is based on research by Adimora, but only if you go and read that research yourself and decide if that is true. However, even if this version is okay, it's not desirable, because even better is for you to come up with your own ideas about this research, not to use Hodder's. Another aspect of plagiarism arises when you need to describe the factual outcomes of a study. Do you need to paraphrase the language then? I would say no. Using exact words for facts is not the same thing as taking ideas. Words are tightly defined, and you may need those words to accurately describe a study's results. Let's look at some examples. In this article by Kalikman et al., they report research results with two facts. The majority of people living with HIV/AIDS have sexual activity, and 1 in 5 have multiple sex partners. How do you report those results? You have to say something similar like this. 1 in 5 people living with HIV/AIDS reported sexual activity with multiple sex partners, and then you cite Kalikman et al. You didn't take an idea, you are reporting facts, and you gave the researcher credit. Let's look at the language closely. Many of the phrases are repeated in your statement. 1 in 5, people living with HIV/AIDS, reporting versus reported, sexual activity, multiple sex partners. Why is that okay? Because there are only so many ways you can say these things. People living with HIV/AIDS is a standard phrase used by everyone. Sexual activity means all kinds of activities. You can't change those words without changing the meaning. Reported is the way the study was designed, with self-report. This is a particular methodology. 1 in 5 could become 20%, but it's at the beginning of a sentence, so it doesn't work. And the definition of sex partners is defined by the research, so you can't change that meaning. So in summary, what exactly is plagiarism? Not citing your sources, yes, but also taking others' ideas, period. And what is not plagiarism? Citing contributors to your ideas, giving direct credit to other people's ideas, and using exact words to cite research results. So let's face up to this honestly. Have you ever done any of these? What can you do to change it? What actions will help you avoid plagiarism? The secret is that you have to develop your own ideas about this topic. How do you do that when you didn't do the research and you're not an expert? That is the topic of the next video, which is part 2 on how to avoid plagiarism.